So I should touch on that really quickly. I'm all about like using compassion as a way to move through this life with less scathing and to keep the energy aligning and balanced and as neutral as possible. So I'm glad that you remembered that, because so many injustices happen to us, perceived injustices too, when we are on this path. But that I knew the details of your pregnancy, so I knew that there wouldn't be a heartbeat showing up at that time. But this was your very early pregnancy. You didn't know how to communicate that, but your insight was a little, or your intuition was kind of like, I don't know, like nobody's told me that that's my next step.
Yeah.
So there's that. So I'm glad. But the other thing is, I'm also really about bringing back joy and inserting joy into this situation for thousands of women that's that's too heavily skewed in despondency, the focus on what's not there. And so when we can bring it into a more joyous thing where we had learned about gratitude together, your gratitude for Lindsay and your gratitude for your own healthy upbringing, your state of mind, and the different things that we could be putting in the scale to tip these Libra scales over here to be like, we are in the abundance. There's so much love between the two of you, so much support. And so that, that scale was tipped. And that's how I was like, this is a time where this couple needs to do this together. And seeing the boys that came from this, they are so much
They're
joy,
so magical.
right?
Yeah.
So let's fast forward through the pregnancy to preparing to deliver these guys.
Yeah, or finding out they were
finding
both
out they're boys. Yeah. And
so
then your viral moment.
We were both convinced we were going to have girls.
We think about that because, you know, we're like, well, people would ask, like, why did you think they were girls? And we're like, we don't know.
Yeah, I think we just thought like our relationships with our mothers, like we were just destined to sort of like
both raise.
Yeah, but we were going to get
girls.
what we deserved kind of as far as having daughters.
But we did. Like, it's so strange. It's like when you think you know what you deserve and what you want, it's like, no, that wasn't supposed to be it at all.
And even when obviously I was a few weeks ahead, so I found out first that I was having a boy, and even then it was like, well, I guess we're having one of each. We still didn't even come into our minds that we could have two boys. So when we found out that you were having a boy too, it was just
I was at work. We were FaceTiming. Yeah. We opened the letter, whatever, and
we were just like, wow.
I was like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And
now, of course, now we're always
boys.
like, thank gosh we had boys. Thank gosh, you know. Thank goodness we have boys.
I mean, girls are great too.
Yes. You get what you're supposed to have.
I think we were, no matter what, you know, who knows, but they are the most wonderful little people. Yeah. They're also very similar to us, which is strange.
You said it when you saw the picture.
And parenting them, you know, I guess I didn't know because I had no idea, but it's still like, you know, you get that healing piece of parenting a boy is the same way you would parent a girl. Like it's not just being a different parent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think so much of the work that I started with you, I think you recommended that grief handbook.
Oh
didn't
gosh,
you?
yes, the grief, of course.
And that handbook for me was a really important part, I think, to open up things that I needed to sort of deal with.
Thanks for remembering that. Yeah. Looking over life as a timeline and reconciling, making amends within yourself with life stuff that happens that creates who we are, and then who you were at the time of conception was the snapshot starting point for you delivered Reese.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was his starting point, was you having this moment of like clean slate, all is forgotten and forgiven, or at least reconciled
Yes.
to the best of my ability for right now.
Yeah. So that was really I see that as like a real starting point for me. And when, of course, and then you have kids, and it is a whole nother level of learning about yourself. And for me, wanting to break those chains wide open, and start new and start better. And so it's been both healing and triggering being a parent, because I think it, showed me sort of some of the things that could have gone different when I was a child. It didn't maybe go as well as I had want them to go. And
also, if I could interrupt,
yeah.
there's, because your kids are now the age that they're 6 years old, and that's how old my son was when we were working together. So what's coming around the bend for you guys, it's like they really turn into the versions of you where, like, I mean, it just definitely changes, and you will see how they become really independent and everything. And the work that you do is able to
come back
meet
to you.
Yeah. And meet them, and you're going to look, and you may have a moment of triggering, but then you're going to have these moments of
healing.
I'm prepared for this, and I can help you navigate
Sure.
getting older, and being in a situation like my kids. Their friends were all their school friends had a mommy and a dad that were married. Now, my kids lived with me and Dan, and we were not married. So they felt a little bit different. But when all of our friends, those couples started divorcing, it was Danica and Dan that held it together for the longest, because we did not have those kinds of expectations. Romantic expectations and things. So these unconventional parenting scenarios that are set up from the beginning, where the kids came through challenges, those are really resilient kids. And they're so unique.
It's always important for us to show Reese and Fox the different ways that families can come. And we're lucky that we have a number of same-sex families that are around us and are in our community, and families that just have one mom, or families that just have one dad, or whatever a family looks like. It might look different, but it's all a family. You have two moms and a dad. Some people have two dads, some people have two moms, so it's wonderful that kids now are just so open to that. And it's just the way it is.
We're lucky about, where we live.
Sure.
And the year.
Yeah.
I think those are good things too.
Sure.
But I was prepared for, there's been moments where they were little, they were like 4 playing soccer or something. And one of the little boys playing with them, Toby was, I don't know, being Toby, being loud. And the little boy said, "Is that your mom?" And Maurice or Fox goes, "Yeah, that's my mom." "Well, that's one of my moms. My other one's over there." And the little boy goes, "Cool." So I was just waiting to be like, what's he going to say? But, it's not it doesn't seem to be much of a thing, which is nice. I think I had a fear that they would feel, different, but it doesn't really impact them.
Yes, they're definitely set up now to be supported more than ever.
Yeah.
I think we could say that.
And I think that's another positive part about our unconventional family, is that they have, not only do they have 2 moms and a dad, but then they have 3 sets of grandparents and,
a bunch
cousins,
of uncles and
aunts,
aunts.
and, it's just more family and more love. And
well, also, we think of having 2 kids usually. So you each only had to do pregnancy once, and you got to.
I say twins the easy way is what I always say.
Twins the fun way.
Yeah. So ultimately, they ended up being. We were 18 days apart our due dates. But I was late and she was early.
Mhm.
So they were ultimately 12 days apart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And, for a long time when they were little, we would, the checkout lady. Yes, they're twins. Yes, they're twins.
Yeah,
We're not
just
going to
Way
tell.
easier
Right,
than
sure,
trying to tell
Uh-huh.
that
And
story
then
to
sometimes
everybody.
we would tell the story, but it's interesting now that they're older.
Well, they caught him real quick.
They do.
Like
and
once they were 3, they would be like, we're not twins.
So they know, and it's wild to hear them tell the story now. And
So let's talk about going into labor.
yes,
Mhm.
What was that like?
that was our
That- I mean,
biggest
that was
fear.
that was yeah. As, you go through the pregnancy, and suddenly I was like, oh no, how are we gonna do this?
And we don't have any
Right?
family that lives close to us. So we were on our own.
And so
And-
you were going to be induced. Like if we had a plan, if he didn't come by a certain date, you were going to be induced.
Right. So it was a few days after my due date.
We were driving into the hospital, and then they called us and they said, "Can you come back on Thursday?" And we're like, "No, we
We're
cannot."
coming